Respected Dr. Swaroop Sampath, our keynote address, Dr. Father John PJ, Principal, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences, Dr. Sister Sonia Kurian, Vice Principal, Dr. Shiba Joseph, IQAC Coordinator, all the esteemed dignitaries who joined us from the virtual platform of Google Meet and YouTube, and all my dear parents. I welcome you all to the inaugural of the International Web Conference on Redefining for Sustainable Future. Ma'am, if I may request you to kindly mute your mic for the time being. I once again welcome you all to the inaugural session of the International Web Conference on Redefining Education for Sustainable Future.
Ours is on.
Yeah, this is live. Then.
In the words of James Sherman, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. We at the Bhopal School of Social Sciences always strive for excellence, aiming for a better tomorrow. Our endeavors are spearheaded by our visionary principal, Dr. Father John PJ. I request Father for his welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Sheena. Dr. Swaroop Sampath, the keynote speaker of this webinar, and all the participants. When we were studying philosophy, we were taught the only thing that is permanent is change. Change keeps happening, and no one can stop it. In different ways, different styles, different areas of human life. Now, the topic chosen for today's webinar is also very much in connection with this change. I was reading an article in Daini Bhaskar, and it is written there that this change that has come in the educational and social life and educational system is after a decade, 100 years. And I was also clarifying before addressing to you whether this topic emerged because of the pandemic, or is it a regular topic to be discussed to innovate and also to get introduced to new ways and means of education. So I was told that this can be also partly because of the pandemic situation that we have across the world. The one thing that I used to regret in my school life was about my position in the classroom. I used to be always a backbencher because of my height, be it in the school assembly or in the classroom. But this online learning and this new pattern of studies, teaching, learning has made everyone a front bencher. There's no one behind. Meaning to say, education has taken a shape, a form of individual and student-centered learning, personalized learning. There is no one. Earlier the teachers used to lecture, and the duty of a teacher was to keep marking how much they have scored. But today, I believe it has become more of guiding, mentoring, and encouraging students for studies and research. We need And it's a call of the present time that we need to redefine educational system as the time calls for. And I think it's a blessing in disguise if we say it in right words that this tough time has brought lot more innovations in the field of education. And the teachers who are otherwise not IT friendly have been compelled to become one. And even this very webinar that we are conducting today is in itself an automatic, innovation and discovery by itself from the society, the times. So, dear participants, I believe this is a very, very relevant topic to discuss and to study on. And I'm sure our research person is an expert, the keynote speaker, Dr. Swaroop, and she will enlighten us much more in this area about redefining education and what it means today in the given situation. Thank you all for the participation, and I'm told that we have number of papers we are received from various participants. I wish all of you all the best, and let us learn together something new and redefine what it should be, maybe the output or outcome of this very webinar. God bless everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by the Education Department and the Science Department together of our BSSS College. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Father, for those motivating words. And I'm reminded of a phrase which I read long back. The only person who likes a change is a wet baby. I feel the time has come where we should be like those wet babies and really embrace change. And really embrace change to redefine education for a better tomorrow. In this time, we are really fortunate to have Dr. Sampath as our keynote speaker. Dr. Sampath is a noted educationist, acclaimed actress, and a leading personality from the film industry who is leaving strong imprints in the field of, especially working as a life skill educator. Her hallmark of fame in the film world and the field of education has been remarkable. She believes life skills education is a form of education that has the power to transform society. In her belief lies our trust, and I'm happy to welcome ma'am for her keynote address on redefining education for sustainable future. Dr. Swaroop Sampath.
Thank you very much. I will wish everybody a very good morning. Father, good morning to you and all the dignitaries gathered here. Sheena, thank you very much. And I would really like to thank Sheena and BSSS for inviting me here to talk about my favorite subject, education. So let's start. Yes? I'm going to take a cue from what Father said, and I'm going to talk about innovation, and education, of course. Digital, virtual, online, distant education for the new normal. I'm here because I love to talk about education. And if you want, you can find me on Twitter. It's Swaroop. And I will tell you why I've actually taken a pause and made this slide for y'all. Redefining education for a sustainable future. Let's first try to understand what education means, what education should mean, and what education means to me. A dictionary meaning is, of course, the first one is about college, universities. But for me, that's a very shallow meaning. The other one was an enlightening experience. That's nice. Dewey said it's a social process of living. That's getting really closer. And one of our great Indian philosophers, Swami Vivekananda, said, education enables a person to stand on his feet, teach him self confidence and self respect. So these are all the definitions I'm going to go with. And I think we're going to have a little interesting conversation today. So I'm going to start with Father's cue, the pandemic. On the 25th of March in the morning, I got up with a start and I said, oh my God, we are in a lockdown and this is very difficult. What am I going to do? And people who know me would say that I'm sure she's going to do something about it. She's not going to just sit down. So I decided to do something very incredible. Now, at that time, none of the schools and colleges were open. So I was out. I had no contact actually with my students. And I thought of something very, very interesting. And Father, I think you're going to like it because here I head towards innovation. Twitter and education. I thought, hey, let's do something on Twitter. Now, Twitter, many people regard Twitter as a useless social media sharing portal. It has many negative opinions. You know, there's trolling happening, there's useless stuff on Twitter, there's silly videos. Then there is the 140 character length. You know, as an educationist, I think that's one of the most incredible things about Twitter, the 140 characters. In these last 6 months, it's taught me to be able to say exactly what I want with just that many words and characters. It's great education. So I thought, let's do something, because a part of teaching is helping people create themselves. So I decided to go on Twitter with my life skill education. It's widely used amongst academia, but they use it for advocacy. A few of them share stuff, but I used it in a totally different way. Because Twitter is a social media site and its purpose is to connect people and to share your thoughts with an audience. Isn't that fantastic? Well, for an out-of-work teacher, that was super. Out of work because I knew that because of the lockdown, I'm not going to have anything to do. But I had a whole lot of people there. Now, just before I continue, I want to say, who do we want to teach? Is it only the schools? Is it only at universities? We have lifelong learning in our NEP 2020. And what about the people who still not gone to school, the little ones? And what about the people, the old one? Don't they need education, constant learning? I think they do. Especially for me, it's very important, as a lot of people who know me know that I was actually a college dropout till 38. And at 50, I had a double PhD. So, you know, we just need to encourage this. I'm going to talk about life skill education because I think life skill education is very important for sustainable development. It would help self-confidence, self-respect, help people to deal with the anxiety that they were going to be facing in the time of the pandemic. So I started this 21-day life skill challenge. And I love this poem, and that's why I've highlighted it and sharing it with you. Darkness arrives, splitting the mind open. Something again is beginning to be born in me. It's dance, a dance is dancing in me. I wake in the dark, and I decided to do something. I decided that I'm going to do this 21-day life skill challenge. And I'm going to take you through some of the Twitter, but otherwise you can go on the Twitter account and you can look up my timeline. I've done the 21-day life skill challenge, and then I did the lockdown 2, and then I did memories, and I have been constantly posting videos and games and activities and educational stuff on Twitter all these days of the pandemic. I want to share this one beautiful thing, because innovation needs creativity. And just so that you all know, creativity is mentioned 6 times in the NEP 2020 and creative 12 times. So that's a good 18 times it's been mentioned in the new NEP. So you must understand how important it is for all the educationists and educations and the teachers, listening to me. Creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking a risk, breaking rules, making mistakes and having fun. Please do not take my talk lightly, because I'm all the time talking of fun. Fun again is mentioned in the NEP 2020. Do not think this is a light talk. It's a very, very deep talk if you look into it, because risk taking is a huge thing. Okay, so this is what I did. Be creative, be positive. Now I did a talk of it, and I gave the activities for people to do. Now somebody would like to point out to me that, I don't know if people actually would do stuff, Well, I know that people did it, and I'm going to share some stuff with you. Isn't this beautiful? A mother posted this because she got her daughter to make Zentangles on after looking at my activity. Now Zentangles, as you can see over here, are incredible for all the teachers that work with primary and pre-primary. You would realize that small motor skills are very, very important. And you don't randomly want to go on and on and on practicing your handwriting. It's so boring. What about giving our kids Zentangles to do? I do that in the villages of Gujarat where I work. These are the prayer flags that my followers have put up, and they posted for me to share it in the social media. Isn't it interesting? A prayer flag, something you wanted to wish for would happen. Okay. Now we want to talk about self-respect, self-confidence, self-esteem, understanding the self. And I think that the thing that makes me different are the thing that make me. Isn't it true? I taught this beautiful idea of strong self-concept with such a simple, incredible idea. Now you have to remember, I was working in the pandemic, in the lockdown. This is lockdown 2. With low resources. A 2-minute video is all that Twitter allows, and 140 characters. A thumbprint, it's unique. Nobody else has a thumbprint like mine. So what about writing a thumbprint poem? And this is what I did. I posted a template on, and I posted an example on for my followers to do on day 14 of the Life Skill Challenge in the lockdown 2. And this is what I got. One little kid sent it through her mom, a poem which she wrote where she was unique. And it really brought a smile to my face. These are some of the things I taught: understanding emotions, understanding yourself, uniqueness of me, empathy. There was this very, very funny video of my husband and me having a communication fight, a game of listening and talking. And guess what? It actually went viral. There were over 100,000 views. Yes. Now just think how many people I have. If you go on my timeline, you will see that most of these talks have over 33,000, 30,000, 20,000. Even the smallest is 700 views. So you can imagine the amount of people I have reached to and try to help them to get over the anxiety and stand on their feet in these days of the pandemic and COVID-19 using life skill education. So this is how you can use Twitter in education. Tweet your homework assignments. Get important educational resources. Oh yes, if you follow the correct people, you're going to get a lot of good stuff. Student collaboration, research tool for students. You can write mini reviews. Remember that 140 character. And teaching through play. Fun is very, very important for me, even in higher education. So I think you can do a lot with this micro blogging portal. It's not only for entertainment, it can also help to all the things that I've already talked about. Now I'm going to go on to something more serious, because y'all are all going to say, and as higher education people, I've always found this, people in higher education are so uppity about everything, and they think, oh, this is so whatever. So let's talk about this. A teacher training in Gujarat. 2.5 lakh teachers of government primary school, Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya and Ashram Shala. A teacher training via satellite conducted for SSA and GCRT. The thing is, the biggest problem, and I think this would be a good thing for you all to think about, the main aim in online distant learning is to reduce the transactional distance. And that's exactly what I did. What is the way you can do it? Through dialogue, through structure of the instructional program, and encouraging autonomy of the learner. I will tell you a few very good examples of it as I come on my speech. Just hold on to this and remember autonomy of the learner, instructional program, and dialogue. But in this case, I have some incredible pictures to show you. Well, the first picture, flyer 9, is the teacher training that was happening when I taught online. I taught online all the theory, and then I gave them, which was a manual given by the GCRT to the teachers. They had to do the activities, and this is the activities they did. I made something just incredible. These are the teachers doing statues while they were studying a very difficult history subject, that is the Indus Valley civilization, or Sindhu Khin Sanskriti as it is called in Gujarat. I did something very important, like I have said, through dialogue, right? I could not talk to 2.5 lakh teachers, but I could make friends with them. And these are our communications on Facebook and WhatsApp. It is incredible. You know something? I am still friends with them, and they still communicate with me. If you go on my Facebook timeline, you will find just now we were celebrating like 5 years ago we did this program, and they're still friends, and they posted the most incredible pictures, etc. This did not stay straight, and it did not stay till the workshop. This was carried on in the school. And these are the pictures of the government school teachers who sent me in Rajkot, Surat, Valsad. They did all these programs in Ahmedabad. And there is something I want to share, which is very, very beautiful, is the museum. Well, I had made a museum for them online, and I showed them how to do that in their schools. In 5 years back, all the government primary schools in Gujarat had their own museums. If you know, the NEP 2020 talks of museums, we're talking about it 5 years later. Excuse me, I've done that, I've been there. Be creative, be innovative. And this is the last thing I want to share with you about this program is the evaluation. I thought I'm doing this incredibly beautiful program with 2.5 lakh teachers, and I got professional people. I talked to them through the Gujarat government to assess and evaluate my program. But guess what? You know what they said? That this is too big a number. We cannot do it. And because everybody is all over the place. So I decided to evaluate it on my own. And this is an electronic poster which has over 15 videos and 22 flyers. And an as this you can see, it has a proper academic paper. I'm going to quickly share the link with you in case you all want to go on to it. I think it's really great. The way I've used FB, that is Facebook, WhatsApp, online learning to teach the teachers of Gujarat. This is the link. And I'm going to pause just for a few minutes, and then I will continue with my talk. I called it Straws in the Wind because it was very important. Now, if you can see, all these teachers have now become head teachers. And for example, Ghanshyam talked that before he met me and before we did all these trainings, he did not know what he was teaching. He didn't think that he was a good teacher. And he learned teaching from the way I taught, because I talk about democracy, I talk about love, I talk about fun, I talk about creativity, being creative, being critical and innovative, imagination. All these things are very, very important if we want to have a sustainable future. Now I'm going to go on to talking about what I'm doing presently. Mahatma Gandhi Labour Institute, a 6-week online course in life skill education. But the one that is very, very dear to me is the add-on course I'm doing at Sardar Patel University, Masters in Social Work and HR. You know, I was so upset. I went into a depression, not clinical one, but I was so sad because here is everything I am fighting for against. I'm fighting against lecture method. I'm fighting against, just the teacher talking. I'm fighting against rote learning. I'm fighting against boring education. And here am I stuck. No ways I'm going to be meeting my students. How am I going to teach them? Believe me, I'm not acting. I was really in tears. Till this fantastic lady who's a friend of mine, who's the head of the department of Sardar Patel University, Dr. Shivani Mishra, she says, come on, ma'am, let's do it online. And I'm saying, no, I don't like online learning. She says, ma'am, we're going to do online in December. Think about it. So I started thinking about it. And I know, as you know me, and now for my talks, you knew I would do something different. So I said, Shivani, since we're going online, let's start before December. I found that my research students had a huge problem in writing. They had a huge problem in research. Most of my students and most of the students are scared of the word research. And you know, I love research. I just like I just love data collection and I love analyzing data and I love writing my research and I can't for the life of me understand why people would not like research. So I decided to teach my students in advance. I decided that I am going to take my students on in September and first teach them research methodology, qualitative study, and action research. These are the two things people are very scared of, and people don't really know how to do it in India because we are so uppity, I said. Sorry, but yes, you know, quantitative study is the only way to do it. Sorry, no. Qualitative study is incredibly good. So is action research. And so I started teaching my students, 40 of them, online. And guess what I did? I'm sure you can't guess. So I will tell you. I use this incredible method called cinema in the classroom. I use cinema to explain research. Oh, yes, it works very well. And you would just see, as you see, it's a typical same screen, isn't it? Just that much of my face, and yet I have all my students in my hand. It is about dialogue. It's about how, like, for example, the first thing I do is tell them, I am not going to mute you. You are going to mute yourself because I believe in democracy. So you can unmute yourself and talk whenever you want. Isn't that nice? Then I talk to them. I allow them, I keep on changing my methods. Like I would put it on the chat and I would ask them some questions and I'd say, okay, now write to me in chat. Or send me an SMS. Or unmute yourself and answer this. So dialogue is very important for cutting the transactional distance. Believe me, I have never met these students. And I just had a lecture with them yesterday after a huge break of like 20 days or 30 days. And you know what is the first thing they said? Ma'am, we missed you so much. Isn't that fantastic? I have not met them. I've just met them online. I have my students love because I love them. We have a lot of fun and we do joke online. Now, what is the other thing I talked about? Dialogue. Instructional program has to be really good. Like what I did is, I, for example, made a video to teach research methodology, and I cut clips from latest Hollywood films. Some of the films are presently showing on Netflix. I use clips of them to explain coding, to explain research, data collection, to explain how data is analyzed. I made the whole program so interesting. Another thing I did is, remember I told you I wanted them to write? So I'm going to be very quick about this. I know my time's running out, but I showed them a picture of a girl dancing in the field. I wonder if you all have seen that old Cadbury ad. If you haven't, maybe you could go and look it up on YouTube afterwards. So there is this girl dancing on the field and there's a policeman trying to stop her from entering and all the people who are watching are shocked. So I said, I want you to do a reflective homework on this. Reflective practices asking, what is happening here? Why is she dancing like this on the field? Where is this happening? What is going to happen after this? After I got their homework, I showed them the whole ad film. The ad film about was this friend of this girl's is trying to win the match, and he hits the winning shot, and the girl gets up and she goes dancing on the field. The children, the students were so happy. Okay, now they're not really children, sorry, they're 22 years old and 23 years old. But they were absolutely thrilled to be doing reflective writing, which is so different and so boring. Otherwise, can become boring. And I got one very nice comment from one of my students. She says, you know, man, since we've been in school, we've been doing this terrible picture writing. And I, for the life of me, did not understand why they make us do this. Now I know. But you know, ma'am, your lecture is different from the other boring stuff that we have been studying. Encouraging autonomy of the learner. And that is something which I do all the time. And I have a super example to share with you. So there was one of my students, and I shall name her Nancy. She was asking me a question and answering a question of mine. And she asked me a question, and before I could answer, I find that she's left the screen's blank. And I'm like, oh my God, where is she gone? And some of her friends put it on chat saying, ma'am, she's lost her internet. And I thought, oh, how sad. And I said, okay, fine, let's continue with the next person's question. And before we could do that, I found Nancy in her friend's screen, and she's saying, bam, you know what? I knew my neighbor has, my friend who's my neighbor, she had internet. The electricity in my building's gone, so I ran across to her, her apartment, and I've come into her computer, and now you can answer my question. Isn't that beautiful? Motivate them to learn. That Nancy, dear student of mine, she ran across the road, went into her friend's place, and came on to my lecture because she did not want to miss what she was learning. I believe that is the way to learn. So what are we going to do about that? Technology is evolving every day. So we have to be able to grasp things more and more because our students are always ahead of us. Remember that. But technical skills, creative thinking, creativity are very, very important for teachers so they can think out of the box. Teachers are the greatest asset to the government in promoting educational reforms for improvement of sustainable future. We need to train our teachers every day. Of course, I am one of those crazy teachers who's had experience since 16 years. Since I was 16 years old, I was on theater, and I was on stage, and I was on television, and I was doing films. So the camera doesn't scare me, and I can be creative. But a lot of teachers need hand-holding. So I would request everyone to go and learn or get people to learn and help the teachers, because without teachers, we cannot do anything. I believe education is a platform for experimentation. Creative and critical thinking requires us to think of the future as open, and at the same time the potential to open up alternative futures for us to pursue. Thank you very much. Remember to look up my timeline on Twitter. You will find a lot of stuff.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Definitely, I am following you on Twitter, and after today's talk, I believe your followers would definitely enhance multifold. And the main takeaway, what I take it from here is the main aim of education and this redefined education in online times should be to reduce the transactional distance. And I believe online education has already done this done this, and we are a step ahead in reaching out to people in all possible ways. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that inspiring talk of yours. And definitely, we have learned a lot of lessons from you, and you have given a lot of cues on how to go forward. Because if you have achieved a double PhD at the age of 50, this itself is a big inspiration. And teachers are definitely a big asset to the government, and we at the as the university and being an autonomous college, we would definitely strive to follow your footsteps and try to achieve and give to the society in all possible ways. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Sheena. I would really like to just last say thank you very much, and thank you, Father, for this beautiful, wonderful invite, because I really enjoyed talking to all gathered here, and I hope that I have been able to make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's move on. Pandemic has changed us in more than one ways, and we have also innovated new ways to keep pace with time. We are happy to release the book in the virtual presence of Dr. Swaroop Sampath and all the esteemed dignitaries on the best practices in higher education institutions and strategies for quality assurance, edited by Dr. Sheba Joseph, our IQAC coordinator. This is a compilation of selected papers organized by the IQAC in academic collaboration with NAC and sponsored by UGC. May I request Dr. Father John PJ, Principal, Sister Sonia, Vice Principal, and Sheba Ma'am to virtually release the book. A big virtual applause from all of you. Thank you so much, Father. Congratulations, Sheba Ma'am. I'm happy to share that we have got more than 60 papers across India and abroad, which would be presented in 4 parallel tracks in the 2 days' time. An overwhelming response from academicians only reinforces our belief that we are definitely moving towards sustainable future, led by inspired and motivated educators. I have with me Dr. Anand Valmiki, a motivated educator from Regional Institute of Education, Shillong, for his virtual paper presentation on education as a catalyst for transforming governance. Dr. Anand Valmiki. So you would like us to present the screen from this side? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
you are audible.
So should I
Please
start
present
presenting?
the slides from your side. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because right now I'm in a small town, I have network issues.
okay.
So I wanted your help for presenting it. You can go with the first slide itself.
Sure.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, so we can start.
Or should I start with my presentation?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. A very, very good morning to all the dignitaries, especially to Dr. Swaroop Lawal ma'am. It was an amazing talk by her, and we really got enlightened by the kind of groundwork she's been doing and the practical field in which she worked. And this was quite helpful for my own presentation, because my presentation would be a kind of mixing up the things such as sustainability and transformative pedagogy and a transformative governance, like transformation governance, basically. So how this transforming governance would really is embedded into national education policy will be the crux of my presentation today. Generally, I don't go with PPT, but I thought since you have given me a great privilege and honor to be a first presenter, I wanted to present some PPT also. To begin with, I have two layers to discuss. Number one, as a student of sociology and a practicing sociologist, we have structural functionalism, which says, like the Parsonians would say, education is a subsystem of the society. Education being a subsystem of the society doesn't exist in vacuum. It exists in the ground realities, as our guest speaker spoke to us, like, it exists in the villages, it exists in the small towns, it exists in the slums, it exists everywhere in the suburbs, in the urban areas, in the metropolitan cities. So according to the changing context of the globalization as well as liberalization and privatization that are going on with the wheels of the change that are sweeping our entire society, the education system substantially has to modify itself, transform itself in such a way that society, as Parson says, like in his AGIL model, as Tolkien Parson talks about adaptation, goal attainment. So the polity economy, the polity education, economy and education, the culture and education, and the maintenance system, that is the social and the organic solidarity in the society that exists. It is education which is a bonding which influences in turn. Education not being a subsystem of the society, education itself being a catalyst to support and nourish the other subsystems is my argument, because if you strengthen the education through parliament, through NEP, through various provisions that I'm going to talk about in various slides, it is emancipatory citizenship. It is a kind of enlightened citizenry that we are going to generate. And these are being taken care of from 2014 with the advent of Modi's Honorable Prime Minister Modi's government. Transformation has just started. Transforming governments have just started. And in 1987, it was in Bertland report for the first time in 1987. The term sustainability got defined as such. If you want me to read out what the Bertland report stated about sustainable development, which means specifically sustainable development is a way of organizing society so that it can exist long term. This means taking into account both the imperatives present and those of future, such as the preservation of the environment and natural resources, or social and economic equity. So if I pose a question to any of my students would immediately answer, because I have almost 400 pre-service teachers and 8,000 in service book and Twitter. In my Facebook, I have all these teachers who are connected with me, and we are having certain groups, we have having micro blogs that Madam was highlighting about. That really helps all of us. If you ask any of my students, what is the age of the universe? They would say it is 13.77 billion years. 13.77 billion years means each billion has 9 zeros. And what is the age of the Earth? Age of the Earth is something around 4.603 billion years. So the Sun has exhausted half of his or her life. And for long-term survival of our future generations and to make our own lives comfortable, we have to strike a balance where we give the future to our future generations rather than grabbing away, swallowing away, siphoning away their future generations. Can we move to the first slide, please? Yeah, the first slide. It talks about national education policy that Madam has already talked about. It looks into socio-cultural, political, economic, and fabric of emerging Indian society in the era of emerging globalization, so on and so forth. So at this point of time, national education policy is expecting us to get into what we call it as a transformational pedagogy. This transformational pedagogy is the term which my guide, when I was a research graduate at University of Washington, though it is defined by different people in different ways, it makes different meanings for different people. My guide, that is J. Professor A. Banks, a black man, is a transformative pedagogy when he started thinking about for multiculturalism, for change of people's heart, what Gandhi has talked about. Like, it's not change of just minds, it is change of hearts. Professor Banks stated that it is Gandhi and Gandhian philosophy which influenced him to get into understanding of transformational pedagogy. Unless we develop the transformational pedagogy in our micro classrooms, in our classrooms at large, we won't be able to. We won't be able to change the hearts of the people towards becoming racially sensitive, culturally sensitive, religiously sensitive, caste-wise respect and sensitivity, linguistic sensitivity, and multicultural sensitivity, all in all. So this transformational pedagogy, this MEP is expecting from us, though it has. Can we go to the second slide? Next slide. It has like education as it uses, as madam has already used the term creativity has been used 6 times. There are many terms which are used a couple of times or more times, such as holistic, equity, equitable, inclusive. So education has to be holistic, it has to be based on equity, it has to be equitable distribution of resources based on social justice, and inclusive. It has to involve each and everybody in the society who are marginalized, who are in the dominant margins, who are in the center, periphery. All these people have to be involved into that, so that this critical thinking and experiential learning will help them to transform themselves. Be a change. First, you have to be a change when we are talking about be a change. Let's say, for example, our own special guest, Dr. Rahul Ma'am, Sampatna. She is an agent of change, and she is a change in herself. That is why she is able to do such a great and powerful things for the society. Next, I have just discussed about this goal, which discusses about quality education, inclusive, equitable, promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, and this is pronounced by National Education Policy 2020 as such. A lofty goal will require the entire education system to be revamped, reconfigured to support and foster learning, so that all of the critical targets and goals of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development will be achieved. This is what is required for all of us. If you go to the next slide, Niti Aayog also has said, like, the wealth of knowledge, the Constitution of India, our own civilizational history, and the present day socio-cultural economic context have to be taken to fulfill the aspirations, and thereby reforming the institutions and moving towards transformation, the governance that is transformed towards the people, by the people, of the people, for the people, power back to the people. This is what is required of, and probably India and most of the world, great countries are moving towards in this direction. And therefore, now we have demand for our national education policy from various foreign countries who want to adapt this national education policy according to their socio-cultural needs and educational needs of their nations. That requires national education policy, therefore requires a great applause. Governance is a manner in which the power is exercised. Next slide, if we can move to next slide. Governance is the manner in which power is exercised in the management of the country, economic and social resources for development. This is said by World Bank in 1992, and we have already crossed 20 years, and still we are still struggling in the management of the thing, because we have so many issues such as nepotism, such as social jealousies, we have such casteism, we have religious fundamentalism, we have insecure secularism.
Sir, am I audible? Is there an audio trouble with you? Anand sir, are you facing an audio trouble?
Where we all maintain our own identity and move towards governance which is equitable. And it is education, as I said, education being a subsystem of the society. Yeah, yeah. No. Madam, am I audible now?
Yeah, yes, sir, you're audible. You're audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Hello? Hello, madam. Am I audible now?
Sir, you're audible. You're audible.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
2 minutes again. Sir, you're audible.
Hello. That's great. That's great. I'll finish it in a couple of more minutes.
Yes.
Now let me talk about, since you get these days are web days. Yeah, since these are web days, what I would like to say is how NEP from past 2014, how NEP has come up, like, it was evolving those days itself. From 2014 itself, the evolutionary process of NEP started taking place. So we have a national initiative of school heads and teachers holistic advancement schemes, such as NIST, which NCRT is organizing for lakhs of teachers. Now we have already almost completed training 47 lakh teachers. We have where we all undergo this Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on teachers and teaching, Swayam Prabha, digital repositories for school education. We have Diksha. Can we move to the next slide? Schemes for madrasas or incentive to girls for secondary education. We have national means come merit scholarship, national awards to teachers. We have PISA, program for international student assessment. We have Prabandh, project appraisal, budgeting, achievement and data handling system of Samagra Shiksha, Vidyanjali, a school volunteer program, and so on and so forth. We have so many ICT initiatives that MOE is taking up, Ministry of Education is taking up, because we are part and parcel of Ministry of Education. We have Yukti, Young India combating COVID with knowledge, technology, and innovation. We have NIRF, National Institutional Ranking Framework. We have ARIIA, the Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievements, and 13 research schemes under the Ministry of Education, such as Imprint, Impact Research in Technology. So therefore, this transforming governance has a great role to play in various Uchar Avishkar Yojan, research parks, fast training and research in frontier areas, GIAN, that is Global Initiative of Academic Work, SPARK, that is Scheme for Promotion of Academic and Research Collaboration, NIDI, National Initiative for Design Innovation, IMPRESS, that is Impact Policy Research in Social Sciences, STARS, Scheme for Transformational and Advanced Research in Sciences, STRIDE, Scheme for Transdisciplinary Research for India's Developing Economy. I know I have went a little bit faster because I have network issues, so I am at some place to make my presentation. It was such a great privilege being part of such a prestigious program from one of the NAC accredited A category, Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Thank you for inviting me. The crux of my presentation is that the transformation has just begun, and we have to be part of this particular transformation. We have to generate a critical mass. We have to generate a critical mass of people who would be agents of change and bring the change continuously, gradually, evolutionarily, and eventually India will be totally transformed in terms of governance because of education which can enlighten and empower people, and also which can generate enlightened citizenry. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity. It was wonderful to be part of here. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Let's all be part of this transformation. That is the takeaway paper.
I'm done with my presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
If there is any Q&A, I would definitely be happy to answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And I'm happy that we all should be agents of change. As Swaroop ma'am has said, and as you have said, let's all be agents of change and transform and move towards a better world. Last, I would just like to officially propose the vote of thanks. A sincere thanks to God the Almighty for leading us through this inaugural session of the International Web Conference. A big thanks to our keynote speaker, Dr. Swaroop Sampath, a versatile genius who spoke her mind and leaves us with thought-provoking session to innovate solutions to problems. And let's transform and become agents of change. A big thanks to Father Principal, who always motivates us to dream and work towards a better world. Sincere thanks to all the esteemed dignitaries and participants who joined us online and offline and spared their valuable time. A big thanks to Giriraj Kabra, a friend of mine who actually gave me the link to Swaroop ma'am. Thank you so much, Giriraj, if you're listening me online. Also, my sincere thanks for technical assistance and the organizing team for their support. Let's wrap the session with a promise to redefine education and do our bit for transforming the world. Thank you so much.